What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is Decoding with Cody. Today is November 17th, 2025, and we have a lot to kind of go over tonight. Everything that's been happening the last 3 months since the Charlie Kirk thing has been culminating up to this point, and we have so many different things that I need to touch on tonight. And indeed, tonight is a big ritual night. Some big things are happening, so if you're just getting in, please hit those like buttons. Please give me a thumbs up in the live stream chat if you guys can hear me. So far, I have not one comment. So is there anyone even in the live stream chat? If there is, please give me a thumbs up. Again, we got some crazy stuff to cover. We got a lot of things. Like, I don't even have slides built for this. So hopefully I'm able to explain all of this so that it's understandable. Because I'm not lying when I tell you that all of the stuff we've talked about for 3 months since Charlie Kirk is like connecting right now. So much to talk about. So I'm assuming you guys can hear me. Yeah, we got a thumbs up. So thank you guys for the thumbs up. Appreciate you all. Hello to Mariana. Hello to Glenn Miller. Hello to Rohaline. Hello to Apache Ghost. Debbie, Robert, John. I'm going to talk a lot about John tonight. John Cena. Yeah, I hope you're well also. Thank you so much for being here. Hello to Freedom from the Matrix. Hello. Hello to Tim Wood. Hello to Alexander. Nice to see you. Tracy Smith. Kim Blanchard. Trying to get through all of you. Danique. Hello. Healer 88888. Hello. William Walsh or Welsh. Golden Age Deception. Make sure you guys go check out him on Instagram. Great decoder as well. Thank you for being here, man. Go Earhart. Hello. And last but not least, Coffee Girl. Hello to Coffee Girl. Thank you for being here, everyone. So with all the hellos out of the way, let's we got a lot. Again, I'm going to say this a lot, but hopefully I can just explain all of this without you guys getting completely lost, okay? And for all the new people that are here, if you guys haven't been watching my videos for the last 3 months, you're probably going to be a little bit confused. But if you have been watching my videos for the last 3 months, you're going to see how everything that I've talked about for 3 months it's all connected, guys. It's all everything that happens on the world stage. It's all a web. And interestingly enough, we're going to talk about Charlotte's Web. Does anyone remember my Charlotte's Web decodes? Let's scroll back. Look at this right here, guys. Do you see this decode right here? Charlie's Web. You guys remember this from 2 months ago? 5.2K if you watch this video. So at least 5,000 of you know this. But yeah, I called this Charlie's Web. Charlotte's Web. This whole thing has been connected to the name Charles. And I'm not going to go over all the reasons why it's connected to Charles, but don't forget, I showed in this video, Charlie's Web, how Charles is a form of Charlie, is a form of Charlotte, is a form of Carl or Carla. Everything, this name on the world stage is so big. There's literally a Charlie's Web of people in this reality on the world stage. And so it's no coincidence. Look at this. Let's just start out with this. Charlotte's Web operation. Shout out to Gematrinator for letting me know this. But look at what's going on right now. And again, this is more profound if you guys have been following my work for 3 months. Okay? Look what it says. Dozens of arrests in North Carolina. Remember, Carolina means Carl or Charles. Okay? The name, the state of Carolina. Oh, I hate the New York Post, man. You can't do anything on this dang. Sorry, guys. I'm going to try a different place where you can actually read it without pop-ups. I hate New York Post. Every time I go on there, it's nothing but pop-ups. All right. Anyways, federal agents launch immigration crackdown on Charlotte. Again, remember the state of North Carolina. I also want to give out a big shout out to Ani Asaru, who sent this to me as well. Ani Asaru has been on the channel. I've streamed with him a few times. I think he lives near here. But again, let's go back, guys. Let's go back 2 months where I did a video called Charlie's Web, and I told you that all of this is about the name Charles. All of it, everything going on connects to that name or any variation of that name. Okay? In fact, let's click on this video and let's see how I started the video. Okay? Look how I started the video. I wrote this out. I said all of these names are connected to Charles, and I'll even add a few more. Charlotte equals Charles. Carolina equals Charles. Charlie equals Charles. Carlos, we've had a bunch of Carloses, equals Charles, okay? But also the names Carla. We're going to talk about somebody named Carla in a little bit, but I mean, let's bring her up because she's going to be, thanks to Joseph Aquaviva, she's going to be a big part of this. Carla Gugino. Carla Gugino. Carla is Charles, guys. Now, we're going to talk more about this woman in a minute, but remember, Carla Gugino was in Snake Eyes. She was the one who watched Charles Kirkland in Snake Eyes get shot. Okay? But then she starred in a movie this year next to John Cena. John Cena. And my whole decodes lately have been about John Cena. Do you guys see how it all connects? Why is John Cena why am I talking so much about John Cena? Because John Cena was in the movie that came out this year that featured Carla Gugino, who was in Snake Eyes. Okay? So all of this stuff, but let's go back to this. Look what's happening right now in Charlotte. Again, that's another form of Charlie. Federal agents have descended on the city of Charlotte, North Carolina, as part of President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration. They're calling this Operation Charlotte's Web. Guys, when Charlie Kirk happened, one of my main videos and my main themes was Charlotte's Web. I talked about it. And now here we are, 2 months later, and Charlotte's Web is the name of the operation. I mean, again, this stuff never ends. It's literally perfectly, it all connects. And again, it goes back to the Snake Eyes. It goes back to Charlie Kirk. That's why his name was Charlie. His name had to be Charlie. There's no other name he could have. Okay. There was a reason. Okay. If you follow the names, you don't even have to follow the numbers. Just follow the names. Okay. But what is the chance that this is the breaking news story? Charlotte's Web operation. Okay. And this leads me to how everything we do is a web. The whole internet. Well, what is this called? The World Wide Web. I just was going to type this in for a minute to see if there's any connections, and I already see some. But again, remember, Charlotte's Web, you're going to see that Charlotte's Web equals Dallas Cowboys. And we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys in a minute. See, well, look at this. Dallas Cowboys equals Charlotte's Web in 3 out of 4 ciphers. I'm going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys in this video in the game tonight, okay? So you have Operation Charlotte's Web, right? Going on right now. In Charlotte, which is Charlie, right? In Carolina, which is Charlie. King Charles' birthday just passed, right? King Charles' birthday was just 3 days ago. So I guess that brings me to what is happening tonight. Like what's happening tonight? How does this all connect to the ongoing Charlie theme? Okay. So let's get into some slides, and then we're gonna, hopefully you guys are gonna be able to understand it. I'm gonna hopefully gonna be able to bring it all together. Okay, so tonight I've been talking about John Cena's last match ever. Again, John Cena was in Heads of State, the movie that came out this year that featured Carla Gugino, who was in Snake Eyes, where Robert Kirkland or Charles Kirkland gets shot, right? Tonight is John Cena's last match on Raw. What's Raw? Raw is WWE's show that they have every Monday, okay? And they've had it for years. So remember, December 13th next month is John Cena's last match ever, right? But tonight is John Cena's final Raw. See, they're promoting it. And where is it taking place? It's taking place in the most famous arena. This is what they wrote. They said WWE returns to the Garden. Now, shout out to my buddy and friend, Widow's son, okay? Let's just give him a big shout out right now, because what was he talking about after the Charlie Kirk thing? Let's go find him, because he deserves a shout out as well. Let me find him. So here's Widow's son, right? And he made videos about the Garden. Look, after Charlie Kirk died, he did a video about the Garden of Eden, okay, and Snake Eyes, right? So this was a month ago, guys, a month ago. He had no idea when he made this video that John Cena, who was in the same movie as the girl from Snake Eyes, he's going to be having his final Raw in the Garden, okay? Look, it says WWE returns to the Garden tonight, November 17th for Monday Night Raw. Don't miss your chance to witness John Cena's last time ever at the world's most famous arena. Now, the same night that this is happening with John Cena, the NFL is putting on a game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Skull and Bones team, the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I just did a video. So again, make sure you guys go subscribe to Widow's Son on YouTube, okay? His link is in the chat. Thank you, Coffee Girl, for dropping that. So let's go back. All right. Let's go back to my last live stream. What does that say right there, guys? UFC 322. 2 days ago in New York City, in Madison Square Garden, they held UFC 322, okay? Again, today's 2 days later, and John Cena is going to have his last match in the same arena as UFC 322. Now, look at this, guys. This is the gist of the whole decode. This all connects back to the Skull and Bones code because it's a big part of this, okay? But look at this. John Cena's last Raw in Madison Square Garden is going to take place exactly 22300 days after the arena broke ground on October 29, 1964. What is John Cena's full name, guys? John Felix Anthony Cena equals 223. Can I get some mind blowns in the chat? You're telling me that they planned the last event in this for John Cena in this stadium 22300 days after it broke ground, the stadium, and John Cena's name equals 223, which is the reverse 322, and we just had 322 UFC 322 2 days ago in the same arena. And tonight, the Skull and Bones team from Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Raiders, are playing. But it's not even that, guys. It's not just that the arena is 22300 days old. John Felix Anthony Cena equals 223, right? Today is 22 weeks and 3 days before John Cena's birthday. So the arena is 22300 days old today. And today is 22 weeks and 3 days before John Cena's birthday. Are you kidding me? On top of that, the team that's playing tonight in the NFL is, again, the Skull and Bones, the Raiders. Where did John Cena win his last championship this year? In Las Vegas, Sin City. We're talking about the Garden, guys. What happens in the Garden? They sin. You guys get it? Sin City, the Garden in the same night. It's all about the Garden of Eden. We're in the year of the snake. We're talking about Snake Eyes, right? John Cena's in the same movie as the girl from Snake Eyes. In the Garden, it's the snake who deceives. And now in the same night, John Cena is in the Garden while the Cowboys are in Sin City. John Cena won his only championship in Sin City. Oh, and somebody in the chat is telling me that Carla Gugino was in Sin City. Are you kidding me? No way. Carla Gugino, there's no way she was in Sin City. She was. Look at this. Look at this. Guys, please hit the like button. This is the most undeniable stuff you're ever going to see. What happens in Genesis 3:22, guys? Let's pull up Genesis 3:22. Because this is all about Sin City, the Skull and Bones, and the Garden. Look, Genesis 3:22 says, "And the Lord said, Behold, the man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil." So this, let's see what this equals. I know it equals something. Now, never mind. Anyways, Genesis 3:22, right? It's where God says, "Behold, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil," right? And now John Cena, JC, on the same night, the Dallas Cowboys, right? They're in Sin City. Dallas Cowboys equals Jesus Christ. Do you see the perfect match between Jesus Christ and Dallas Cowboys? 151 and Charlotte's Web. You see how it all equals the same? I started talking about Charlotte's Web, right? But Jesus Christ, right? 151, 43, 74, like Dallas Cowboys. And tonight, the Dallas Cowboys are in Sin City. The same night that John Cena, who won his championship, let me just show you that. Where did John Cena win his 17th World Championship? Look at this, guys. Where did John Cena win his 17th world title this year? In Las Vegas. What's today's date, guys? What's today's date? Today is the 17th. Today's the 17th. John Cena won his 17th title on April 20th, 2025 in Las Vegas. And now the Cowboys tonight, they represent John Cena going into Sin City and winning the championship. Okay? Earlier this year. Remember, what happened one day after John Cena won his title in Vegas? You had the death of Pope Francis the next day on Easter. Okay? John Cena is known as the Never Seen 17. That's what they call him. I'll just type that in. Is John Cena known as the Never Seen 17? Well, it's lying. The AI sucks sometimes. But anyway, they've been calling him the Never Seen 17. See if I can actually find Yeah, right here. You see? They call him the never seen 17. Okay? Because he has 17 championships. Today's the 17th of the month, right? Well, look at this. 17 is the 7th prime, okay? And 7 is the 4th prime. Okay? So this is the important number going forward. 4. It's all connected to the 4. Again, just to reiterate, 17 is the 7th prime, 7 is the 4th prime. Okay? So it breaks down to 4. Okay? But let's finish this part. Not only is today 22,300 days exactly after Madison Square Garden opened, right? Or broke ground, like John Felix Anthony Cena equals 223. It's 22 weeks and 3 days before his birthday. Skull and crossbones, the symbol of Brotherhood of Death, skull and crossbones equals 223, like John Felix Anthony Cena, the same cipher, guys. The same cipher. His name equals skull and crossbones in the same cipher. Now look at this. 2 months. Today is not. So this game's happening tonight, right? This game between Vegas and Cowboys. It's 2 months and 23 days before the Super Bowl. How perfect, guys. 22,300 days after the arena opens, 22 weeks and 3 days before Cena's birthday, and 22 months and 23 days before the Super Bowl. Okay? So that's the gist. That's the main point there. But we have to go back to what happened earlier this year on Beyonce's 44th birthday. Okay? You guys remember this? Raise your hand in the chat if you guys remember the very first game of the NFL season. It was only 6 days before Charlie Kirk was shot, right? This was the video I was doing before. On the day Charlie Kirk was shot, I was working on a video about this, okay? So this was 4 days before. So let me explain what happened that day. This September 4th, the first game of the NFL season, was Beyonce Carter's 44th birthday, okay? So her 44th birthday. She did an album called Cowboy Carter, okay? Well, the team that was playing the night of her birthday was the Cowboys versus the Eagles. Her husband has an album called 444, Jay-Z, okay? That game on her birthday was delayed by lightning, which equals 44, and the clock was stopped with 4 minutes and 44 seconds until the fourth quarter, because it was in the third quarter. So that means the game was stopped with a lightning delay with 4 minutes and 44 seconds in the quarter. Now, this score here, 20-24, this was the final score. They didn't score 1 point in the whole fourth quarter, and the final score of the game was 20-24. That equals 44. Okay, so it was her 44th birthday. The total points of 44. It was a lightning storm, which equals 44. It stopped the clock at 4 minutes and 44 seconds, right? Now, how does this all connect to today? The Cowboys are playing again today, okay? How many days are left in the year today? Look. Today, there's 44 days left in the year, guys. The very first game of the season was all these fours, remember, with the Cowboys. And now, what's the odds that the Cowboys are only game playing tonight on the day leaving 44 days in the year? Tomorrow is the 322nd day of the year to go with the Skull and Bones code, okay? So most of the world, this game will be happening on the 322 day of the year. In Germany, in England, in Australia, in all these places, this game tonight will be happening on the 322nd day of the year, because it will already be the next day. But today in the United States, today leaves 44 days in the year, okay? So the Cowboys, who had the 44 game, and this is my slides from all the way back then, this was from September 5th, They're playing again on the 44 day. Now remember, the first game of the season was on 9/4. It was the 4th of the month, right? The final score was a total of 44 points. In that game, at the beginning of the game, the guy who was born on 4/4, Jalen Carter, whose name equals 44, spit on number 4, and the word spit equals 44, okay? This was a big play in the beginning of the game. The guy who's born on April 4th, which is 4/4, and his name, Jalen Carter, sums to 44, he spit on number 4 on the Cowboys, okay? And the word spit equals 44, okay? Remember, in that same game, there was a lightning storm that stopped the game at 4:44, okay? Now, this was 44 years since Jimmy Carter became president, or since he left office, sorry. And remember, Jimmy Carter, the guy who spit on number 4 was Jalen Carter. He was from Georgia. Georgia equals 44, okay? So why am I taking you guys back to September 4th and talking all about this 44 stuff? Well, not only because today is the day leaving 44 days in the year, and John Cena's having his last match today, right? And the Dallas Cowboys are playing again, and they're the 44 team. Let's see how many times the Dallas Cowboys games have finished with a 44 connection this year. Look at this. This is ridiculous. So here, I'm going to take you back to the preseason, which is before the first game of the season. So you guys know in the NFL, there's a preseason. So they play games, they play practice games before they start the season, right? They play 4 preseason games. And this year, so here's the first games of the season. Here's the preseason games, right? Here's the Cowboys, right? All these are Cowboys games. They're all the same. They played the Ravens, and the final score was 13-31, okay? That's 44 points. Now remember, 1 + 3 is 4, and 3 + 1 is 4, okay? But look what happened the next game in the Falcons. It was the same score, guys, 13-31. Again, a total of 44 points. Now here's the first game of the season, the one I was just describing to you on Beyonce's 44th birthday. Look at the score. Again, 20 + 24 is 44. So there's 3 games in a row where the final score of the game, the total points was 44, okay? But it gets even better, guys, because the game after the Eagles game with 44 points, the Cowboys scored 40 points to win that game. Another 4, right? Scored 40 points. The next game, the Cowboys scored 45 points, which is 1 off from 44. I'm not sure why they did that yet. If anyone can give me a good idea why they would make it be 1 off from 44, you guys can let me know. The next game on September 28th, they tied the Packers with a score of 40-40. Remember, Jesus spent 40 days and 40 nights, right? It's a big number. So it's just anything that connects to a 4, guys. 40 or 44, it's all 4, okay? So the next game, they didn't have any 44s, right? So there was 2 games here where there was no 40s, right? Of course, the Jets scored 22 points, which is 4. But anyway, the point is that there was 2 games where they didn't have a 44 or 4 connection, okay? But now let's get to our present time. On October 8th or October 19th last month, the Dallas Cowboys scored 44 points against the Commanders. Okay? And if you guys know NFL, it's very rare. It's very rare to see a team score 44 points. But not only did the Cowboys score 44 points on October 19th, exactly a week later, they gave up 44 points to the Denver Broncos. So 2 weeks in a row, the final score of the game was 44, right? The Cowboys scored 44. The next game, they lost by losing 44, right? Now look at this. The next game, 2 weeks ago on November 3rd, the Cardinals beat the Cowboys 27-17. That's 44 points. So do you guys understand what I'm getting at here? let's count out of all the Cowboys games this season, right? How many has there been? Let's count. Let's start with the preseason games, right? There was 4 preseason games, right? And 2 of them ended with 44 points, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, I guess they play 3. Yeah, it used to be 4, didn't it? It doesn't matter. The point is that 2 of their preseason games this year, they had a 44 total. That's the point. But anyway, out of all these games, there's 13 games here I have up. How many of them had a 44 connection? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So more than half, more than half of the games had the 44 connection. And it all started with all this 44 stuff on Beyonce's 44th birthday, right? And remember, I told you guys that today is the 17th. 17th is the 7th prime number. 7 is the 4th prime number. So when you see 17, you can break it down to 4. Okay. So, and remember, that 44 game with the Cowboys was 4 weeks and 4 days after Obama's birthday, which is also on the 4th, right? And Obama was the 44th president. Now Trump is the 44th person. Okay. Jay-Z is known for the 40-40 club. Yeah, well, that's just even more proof why they tied the game 40-40 here against the Packers, right? So why am I talking about all this? Why is this so important? What's with all this? Well, again, I told you today is the 44 days left in the year. And of course, the game that's playing tonight is the Cowboys. Okay, the Cowboys are playing on the day with 44 days in the year. Their quarterback, Dak Prescott, he wears 4. I think he's the only quarterback in the league that wears 4. Let me just bring a picture of him up. Hold on. So again, the leader of the Cowboys literally wears the number 4. Okay. This is what it's telling you. Okay. How many days ago did Dak Prescott? So let's look at Dak Prescott's stats. Let's just show you how improbable all this is. How many days ago did Dak Prescott throw for 4 touchdowns? You see this? One time this year, one time out of all the games this season, he threw for 4 touchdowns in one game, right? How many days is it after that? It happened on October 5th. Today is the 17th. Look how many days it is since Dak Prescott threw for 4 touchdowns. You see right here, October 5th against the Jets. He threw for 4 touchdowns, 0, right? 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Number 4, 44 days ago. 44 days ago. And now today is the day leaving 44 days in the year. And now he's playing again, right? He's playing tonight, Dak Prescott. You see how improbable that is? I just showed you all that his team is all tied to the 44. And now it's been 44 days since he threw 4 touchdowns in a game. So, yeah, and Atlanta is the 404 area code, and there's 404 verses in Revelation. So that's a big part of why this is important, right? There's 404 verses in Revelation. And look how many touchdowns Dak Prescott has right now. He has 17 touchdowns all year. What's today, guys? It's the 17th. I just told you that 17 breaks down to 4. Watch. 17 is the 7th prime, right? 7 is the 4th prime. Okay, so Dak Prescott has 17 touchdowns on the 17th, right? And 17 breaks down to 4. And today is 44 days after he threw for 44 yards or 4 touchdowns. Okay. And today leaves 44 days in the year. So again, I can keep repeating that, or I can move on. So how does this all connect? Well, what are the odds? I'm not saying this is going to happen, guys, but at this rate, what are the odds that the Cowboys tonight score 44 points or the total of the game that they're in tonight, it sums to 44? Is that going to, are we going to get another 44, or is that going to be too obvious? I don't know. But all I'm telling you is that this whole game, everything tonight is about the 44. Now, remember, I told you today is the 17th. Well, when you type in the number 17, well, look at that, guys. It equals 44. So the number 17, when you type it in gematria, it equals 44. Like the garden. Now look at this. We're going to go back to the Garden of Eden. The garden. Remember, John Cena is going to be at the garden tonight. Okay, so disregard the Seattle thing for a minute. So John Cena's in the garden tonight on the day leaving 44 days in the year, and it's the 17th. And 17 equals 44. John Cena is called the Never Seen 17. That's what they call him. Right? And what do they call Madison Square Garden? They call it the Garden. Okay? So, I mean, it's just improbable how all this fits. You know, number 4 on the Cowboys, 44 days after he threw 4 touchdowns. On the day leaving 44 days, John Cena's at the Garden, which equals 44 on the 17th, which equals 17 equals 44. He's won 17 championships. 17 breaks down to the number 4. But that brings me to what Joseph shared with me earlier, because this is the really mind-blowing part, all right? So Joseph, while I was doing all this John Cena decoding, Joseph shared with me this. So here's John Cena, right? He was in the movie Heads of State. So here's the movie Heads of State, right? And it stars an actress named Carla Gugino. Now, again, let's go back. She was in a movie called Sin City. We just found that out. And where is the Cowboys tonight? Number 4, Dak Prescott, who I just talked about all the 4s, right? Where is the Cowboys tonight? Where did John Cena win his 17th championship? It was in Sin City. Carla Gugino was in Sin City. Okay, this is all about the garden and the sin, right? Now, the other movie that Carla Gugino was in was Snake Eyes. So you guys see how perfect this is? And again, shout out to Widow's Son, who was talking about the garden, and shout out to us, me and AJ and Rambo and Joseph. We were all talking about Snake Eyes, right? So let's see who was in Snake Eyes. Oh, look, it was Carla Gugino. And again, her name means Charles, guys. Carla means Charles. So you got the Charles stuff there. You got the Charlie, the Charlotte, all that stuff. So she was in Snake Eyes, and she was in Sin City, and then she was in a movie this year with John Cena called Heads of State. John Cena plays the president. John Cena played the U.S. president in this movie. Now, what happens in this movie? Thanks to Joseph. And actually, I remember somebody had told me this, but I completely forgot. And you can't see it here. I didn't want to show it, but the point of it is this. Here is what Joseph shared with me. Elizabeth Kirk. Okay, I forgot to even mention the most important part. Here's Carla Gugino in Snake Eyes. And this is a picture right before Charles Kirkland, the guy right here, gets shot in the neck, right? So here's Carla. She watches Charles Kirkland get shot in the neck. Fast forward to this year, she's in a movie playing the vice president, and her name in the movie, let's look what her name is. The name in the movie that she plays Vice President Elizabeth Kirk. This is absolutely ridiculous. How can anyone just bat an eye at all this? You remember how viral the Snake Eyes movie went? But this didn't go viral. This whole thing with Elizabeth Kirk being in Heads of State and being played by the same actress who was in Snake Eyes, that needs to go absolutely 100% viral, because that shows that all these movies are connected, guys. And obviously this Carla Gugino, maybe she's really like maybe she's the mastermind of the Charlotte's Web or something, because she seems to be in all these movies that are important. But what happens, again, this is from Joseph, and 666 is 777 on Twitter. She gets shot in the neck, guys. Elizabeth Kirk, played by Carla Gugino in Heads of State with John Cena as the president, she gets shot in the neck. Give me some mind blows in the chat, guys. In Snake Eyes, she plays the actress who watches Charles Kirkland get shot. And then in Heads of State this year, she plays the actress who plays Elizabeth Kirk, the president, who gets shot in the neck. And as Joseph's saying in the chat, she lands in a chair, just like Charlie Kirk landed in a chair. You guys got to go watch the clip. I think Joseph posted it. You guys got to go watch the clip of her getting shot in the neck in the movie, okay? Now, how does this bring us all the way back around? It brings us all the way to John Cena again, because John Cena is in the movie, and he's the one she's talking to. Let me just bring up Facebook, or let me just... you guys can go watch the video, okay? I'm not going to play it here because I don't want to get a copyright. I also don't want to show, if I show like blood and stuff, it will mess with the video. So I just, the clip is on the Facebook link in his community post. Okay. So guys, go to Joseph's community. Let's find Joseph here. Hold on. Where are you? Go to Joseph's posts. Well, and here's a picture of it, okay? Right here. This is a picture of the movie Elizabeth Kirk shot in the neck. Okay? Now, how does this all connect back around? Right? And if you guys want to see the video, go to Joseph's post, click the video link, go to his Facebook, and watch the video. And watch who she's talking to when she gets shot. Who is it? It's John Cena. Okay? Guys, she's literally talking to John Cena when she gets shot in the neck. How is this all coincidence? All these people come right back around. Okay? Here I am doing a John Cena decode tonight, and Joseph shares this with me. And the last thing she says in the movie before she gets shot in the neck is she's talking to John Cena about being a good actor. I'm telling you, you guys got to go watch the clip. She says, "You're just jealous. I'm a better actor than you." She says this to John Cena. And then she gets shot in the neck. She literally tells us she's an actor, right? The president is an actor. So again, how does this go perfectly with tonight? Tonight being the 44 connection. Because what does the word shooting equal? Watch. Shooting, 44, right? Military, 44. The word kill equals 44. Charlie Kirk was shot on 44 date numerology, right? Let's go back to Charlie Kirk. If you add the date, 9 plus 10 plus 25, it equals 40. Donald Trump, he was supposedly or allegedly, he was shot on 44 date numerology. Look, 7 plus 13 plus 24 is 44. Yeah, gunfire. Thank you, Joseph. Gunfire also equals 44. So this right back around. Here we are on the day leaving 44 days in the year. I already explained to you all the 44 stuff with the Dallas Cowboys. And now the Dallas Cowboys are playing tonight. And when you think of Cowboys, what do you think of? You think of guns too, right? Cowboys and their guns, right? I mean, often when you I mean, not always, but when you think of these type of old Western cowboys, you think of guns. So, and don't forget, this is in Dallas. Where was JFK shot? Dallas, guys. So now, how many days is this before Elizabeth? Now, we talked about how Elizabeth Kirk is played by Carla Gugino in Heads of State, right? Well, that reminds you of Erica Kirk. Now, when was Erica Kirk born? She's not born on November 20th. How many days is today? A span of days before her birthday. Look at this. Guys, today is a span, which means if you count today, it's 4 days. Today is the homicide day too. 11/17 is the 187th prime. Homicide code is 187. That's another thing I forgot to mention. But look, today is a span of 4 days. Shout out to Widow's Son for finding this one earlier. Today is a span of 4 days before Erica Kirk's birthday. And how old does Erica Kirk turn on the 20th this year? Look, she was born in 88. So how old is she turning? Guys, Erica Kirk, today is 4 days before Erica Kirk turns 444 months old. Drop me some mind blows in the chat, please. Do you see how this came all the way back around? I started out by talking about John Cena and in the Madison Square Garden, and tonight I led you all the way through the Snake Eyes thing with Carla Gugino, the Heads of State, the Cowboys 44 connection, right? And we just found, again, Widow's Son actually shared this with me. I'm glad he's here. He just got in here. But he reminded me that today is 4 days before Erica Kirk turns 444 months old. And Erica Kirk is essentially the same name as Carla Gugino, plays Elizabeth Kirk, who gets shot in the neck in John Cena's movie. And tonight in the Garden, John Cena. You guys get it? Again, I'm glad you're in here, Widow's Son, because we've been talking about since the beginning how this is all connected to your predictions and all your connections to the Garden of Eden, and how we have 3 movies here. We have 3 themes here that connect to the garden. We have the Snake Eyes, which is the snake in the garden. We have John Cena in the garden tonight. And we have the Skull and Bones. Remember, Genesis 3:22 is where it says, and this is all about the Skull and Bones code. It says, and the Lord God said, behold, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. And Carla Gugino, 4 rivers lead to the Garden of Eden. Exactly. Thank you for reminding. Guys, go subscribe to Widow's Son, because, again, he was all over this. And I don't know why it took so long to talk about it, but tonight is where it proves. I mean, not that it wasn't already proven, but John Cena in the garden, that's what they call it, guys. This is what they said in the build-up to tonight. He's in the garden on the 17th. Again, 17 is the 7th prime, 7 is the 4th prime. It breaks down to 4. There's 4 rivers that meet in the Garden of Eden. Okay? The Cowboys this whole year have been about the number 4. I showed you this already. Okay? And today is 4 days before Erica Kirk's 444th birthday. And on the first game of the season, the Cowboys had that game on Beyonce's 44th birthday, which was stopped at 4 minutes and 44 seconds, right? When Jesus and Lucifer also both equal 444 and killing equals 444. So I could keep saying the number 4 all over and over and over again, but the point is, We just found out too. Oh, this is what I also forgot to say. She gets shot as the vice president in Heads of State, and she's talking to John Cena. But she was in Snake Eyes, right? Like the snake in the garden. But she was also in Sin City. Gugino is like the key figure here. She was in all of these movies. She was in Snake Eyes, like the snake in the garden, and she was in the Sin City. And again, just to reiterate one more time, tonight, the Cowboys, the star, right? The wise men followed the star to find the baby Jesus, okay? The star is in Sin City tonight, and John's on his 17th championship in Sin City, okay? Like 17 breaks down to 4. Yeah, earthquake also equals, so there's some things we can think about here. Earthquake equals 44, right? Cancer also has that 44. And yeah, so the point is everything, as usual, is perfectly lined to tonight. And another 44 coming up in the Dallas Cowboys game tonight. Look at this. The Cowboys in their 4th game of the season tonight, guys. See, they're on 3 wins right now. They can win. And don't hold me to any of this. Don't go betting on any of this today, because you never know what they can do with the scripts here. Okay? Nothing is ever 100% in this. But all I'm saying is that the Cowboys can win their 4th game of the season, they leaving 44 days in the year. 4 days after the quarterback number 4 threw for 4 touchdowns. But I started, this is just me playing around a bit, and I really got deep into this decode, right? And this one's a little bit harder to explain, but let's go to this. Let me just pull up another one here. Hold on. Canva is so annoying because I can't use the same account, so I have to. Let's see. Does Cowboys John Cena equals 233? Huh? Interesting. So let's go to this, if it will pull up. I'm trying to share this because this is, I think, if guys, I'm not saying I'll get this right, but if the final score of the game tonight ends up being 13-31, this will be, I will have taken apart the code to an extreme level, okay? But I'm not saying this is likely, this doesn't happen. But the code seems to point to this. So if the Cowboys win their 4th game tonight, on the day leaving 44 days in the year, the Cowboys, before the game starts, they have 263 points for them this year, and they have been scored against 277 times. So this is their totals this year. They've scored 263. They've given up 77. Remember, I told you the first 2 games, the preseason games of the Cowboys, the total was 44 points. They scored 13-31. Now, 13 and 31 is a Eclipse code, so it's a big number, 13-31. But that equals 44. And remember, 1 plus 3 is 4, and 3 plus 1 is 4. So it's all about 4, right? But they had this score twice in the preseason, right? They scored, the games ended 13-31 twice. So I started thinking, what if they score tonight on the 44 days left in the year? What if the Cowboys win 31-13. Okay. And look at what happens if they win 31-13. If they score 31, that means their total points for the season will be 294. Okay, so let's start with that number. So if the Cowboys score 31 points tonight, the final score will be 294 points this season. If you take gematria of Dallas, now remember, these are the Dallas Cowboys. Look, Dallas equals 294. If they score 31 points tonight, remember, Charlie Kirk was shot at 31 years old, which is the 11th prime. Today is the last game of week 11 of the NFL season. But yeah, if they score 31 points, they have 2 points for the season, right? Well, look at this. Garden, the NFL just had a game in Madrid, Spain. Madrid equals 294. We just talked about how this is all about the Garden. John Cena's in the Garden tonight. Well, look. Garden equals Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys, right? NFL equals 294. So are the Dallas Cowboys going to finish tonight's game with 294 points on the season after they score 31? Now, if they give up 13 to the Raiders, that means they will have given up 290. Okay? But what's crazy about this, if that's what happens, look at the differential of points for this. They give up, if they score 31 tonight and get to 294, and they give up 13 and get to 290 given up, that's a differential of 4 points, guys. You guys see how perfect that would be? I'm not saying 100% ever going to happen, but this is just me trying to read the code, right? But you see how perfect that is? They score 31-13, and it gets them to a different season 4. Not to mention, the gematria points to it because Dallas equals 294, Garden, and NFL. But it's even more crazy because when were the Dallas Cowboys founded? Look at this. The Dallas Cowboys were founded on January 28th. So how many days is today after they were founded? Look at this. Guys, today is 294 days after the Dallas Cowboys were founded. Let me know if you guys in the chat understand how big that is. The Dallas Cowboys can score 31 points tonight to get to 294 points on the season when Dallas equals 294 and NFL 294. And today is 294 days after Dallas was founded. So I'm just throwing this out there because I want people to at least, we're not always going to get it right, but I think that we can really, it's obvious that these games are all coded, right? And how many times this year, right? What do you mean 1960, not 25? This is 294 days after the anniversary of their birthday. What's the difference between measuring? So if you measure in 1960 when they were founded, it's still the same. It's 65 years and 294 days. So I don't know why why is that? What's the difference? It's 294 days after their birthday. Okay. I mean, what's the chance of that though? The fact that they can even get to 294 points tonight and then Dallas equals 294. So, and again, today is the 44 day left in the year. And there's a lot more I could say. I don't even think I want to go much deeper into this, but let me show you one more thing. So the Dallas Cowboys have a player named John. You know how John Cena is tonight in the Garden? They have a player named Jake Ferguson. Look at how Jake Ferguson's wearing 84 in his picture. You guys know about the 84s. That's another number we could talk about right now, but I'm just going to leave that for another day. But look, his name is John, right? Jonathan, his real name, right? And tonight, John is the fourth book of the gospel. Wow, that's perfect. Wow. Great one. John is the fourth book of the Bible, or of the gospel. Wow. But yeah, his name is John, right? Look at when this guy's born. January 18, 1999. Let's see how old he is today. Guys, this is mind-blowing what I'm about ready to show you. Look how old this John guy is today. John Ferguson, who plays on the Cowboys tonight. He's 3 to 2 months old. A span of 3 to 2 months old, which means he turns 3 to 2 months old to actually tomorrow on the 322nd day of the year. Are you kidding me? After everything I just showed you with John Cena and the 223s, remember? It's 22 weeks and 3 days before John Cena's birthday. It's 22,300 days after the Garden opened or broke ground. John Cena's name equals 223. And the guy who's named John on the Cowboys, he's turning 3 to 2 months old today. And thank you, Widow's Son, for tearing up the 4 connections, because he keeps. Let me just bring up his. There's 4 books in the New Testament called John, and John is the 4th book of the gospel. There you guys go. That's all about the 4s. And again, John Cena is the 17th time champion. That breaks down to 4. And now let's look at this Jake Ferguson guy. And look how crazy this is, guy. This is the last thing I'm going to show you. Let's go find Jake Ferguson's stats. Look at this. This just proves to you that this is all about the 44. Watch. So Jake Ferguson, right? Let's go to all the games in his career. This is mind-blowing right here, what I'm about ready to show you too. Watch this. Let's go to Jake Ferguson's 44th NFL game. Okay, here it is, right here. You guys see it? Here's his 44th NFL game. How many snaps did he play in his 44th NFL game? He played 44 snaps in his 44th NFL game. And he had the ball thrown to him 4 times. Are you kidding me? The guy played 44 snaps. Let's see how many other times he played. He's played how many games in his career? He's played 56 games in his career. Only 3 times has John Ferguson played 44 snaps. Let's find it. Here's the snap column right here. You don't see any 44s. I know it's hard for you guys to see because I can't highlight it. But over here on this thing where it says offensive snaps, right? If you go down here, you don't see 44 anywhere. Look, no 44s until you get to his 44th game, and that's the game he played 44 snaps. He never played 44 snaps until his 44th game. And on the 44th game, he had 4 times thrown to him. And look at the final score. Look at the final score of the game, guys. His 44th game, his team scored 30 and the other team scored 14. What's 30 plus 14? Guys, drop that in the chat. Here's a quiz for you. What is 30 plus 14? Drop the number in the chat. I'll wait. Exactly. I was just waiting because I want to see that you guys are. I mean, I know what you guys were already going to put, but are you kidding me? So think about this. Jake Ferguson, who's going to be 322 months away, John Cena's retirement, and it's the 44 days left in the year. He played his 44th career game and played 44 snaps. He was thrown out 4 times, and his team, the final score of the game, added to 44. Now, what's the other 2 times that he played 44 snaps? Look at this. He played 44 snaps just recently when his team won by a score of 44-22. Look. And then the next week, his team lost 24-44. How many snaps did he play that day? Look, guys, you see the 2 44s right here? He played 2 games in a row, 44 snaps. And his team scored 44 points in both those games. Are you kidding me? Like, I hope you guys are understanding how improbable that is. He's only played 44 snaps in his career 3 times. Is he going to play 44 snaps again tonight? That would be crazy. Because he's done it 3 times in his career. He's played 44 snaps. The first time was in his 44th game, and the last 2 times was when his team finished with 44 points, and the other team finished with 44 points. That's just mind-blowing. That's just mind-blowing, man. Like, when you really think about it, it's just crazy. And again, this is the guy who's 322 months old today, right? So is he going to play 44 snaps tonight? It's hard to say, guys. It's really it's just, I mean, maybe he will get hurt. I don't know. That's a good thought. I mean, is he either going to have a good game or a bad game? That's the question. The 322, it's not normally a great number. But the point is, I just showed you how improbable all this is, how it all connects back to the same themes. And most importantly, how it connects back to this 4, right? And somebody in the chat had another great observation that numbers. Let's just somebody, I don't know who wrote that. Yeah, remember I talked to you guys about the 444 hertz. Remember that? Tetramorph, John is the Eagle. Wow, I mean, that makes even more sense now because the Eagles beat the Cowboys to start the season. Yeah, I wouldn't say you book the 31-13 score, but if that ends up being the score tonight, guys, you know where you heard it. But I will admit that I don't think I'm going to be right because it just seems improbable. Like the 4 horsemen too. Don't forget that, guys. Thank you for everyone in the chat dropping these additions. Yeah, I mean, I showed you guys. Oh, I forgot the most important part, guys. I forgot the most important part. I decided to look up how many times the Cowboys games have finished with a score of 31-13. So let's just show this, okay? This is also mind-blowing. I was on like a heavy code today, as you guys can see. So this is the one good thing that you can use ChatGPT for. You can kind of find things that are normally hard to find, but you never trust ChatGPT either. You have to actually do the research after that. But look at this. How many times have the Cowboys games finished with a score of 31-13? Guys, how many times? 4 times. 4 times in their history, the Cowboys games finished with a score of 31-13. Whether it was the Cowboys that won or the other team, the score was a final of 31-13, right? Which is 44 points. But the one that stands out is this one right here, October 25th, 1964. Let's go back to that date. October 25th, 1964. All right. Look how many days it's been to today from the day that they last scored. I have a score, or the day that they scored. The team game with the Dallas Cowboys was 31-13 right here. Let me just bring it up. Here it is right here. Look how many days it's been, guys. 22304 days. And you know what that means, guys? Do you remember this measurement? Do you guys remember when the Madison Square Garden opened? When was that? Guys, the Dallas Cowboys game finished with a score of 31-13, exactly 4 days. I should have made a slide of this because this is unbelievable. I was just talking about Madison Square Garden, where John Cena is going to be tonight during the Cowboys game. I said that there's a possibility that the score ends 31-13. The Cowboys game 31-13 happened 4 days before Madison Square Garden broke ground. Look at this. Back in 1964, guys. Mind blown in the chat. Like, think about that. I'm talking about John Cena in the Garden tonight. The Garden opened or started construction 4 days after the Dallas Cowboys had a game of 31-13. How many times have the Cowboys games finished that? Let's count them. 4 times only in their whole history. So what are the odds that one of those games is only 4 days before Madison Square Garden opened? What are the odds of that? So if the game finishes 31-13 tonight, you guys know exactly why. It's all about this. 4 days before it, but before it started. And it was against the St. Louis Cardinals. There's probably something there too. And remember, 1331 is an eclipse code, okay? You guys got to go follow Derek's work. But it also wouldn't be surprising if the Raiders scored 13 points against the Dallas Cowboys tonight, because look at what Dallas equals, 13. And Dallas equals 41. Well, 41 is the 13th prime number. So would it really be a coincidence if the Raiders scored 13 points against the Dallas team tonight? No, it wouldn't be. Because Dallas has 13s all over it. Okay? Remember, I told you today is 294 days after the Dallas Cowboys were founded. They can get to 294 points if they score 31. And remember, I told you that if the Dallas Cowboys, if they give up 13 points tonight, they would have, that means they would give up 290 for the season. Well, look at what the full name of, remember I showed you John Ferguson, who played his 44th game and had 44 snaps, and he's playing tonight. He's 2 months old. Well, look at Jake Ferguson. Look at his full gematria. If you take his full gematria on Wikipedia, Jonathan Quinn, Jake Ferguson, look at what it equals. It equals 290. So that's the number that they can give up tonight if they give up 13 points. 290. Well, what also equals 290? John Cena. Whoops. I thought John Cena equaled 290, but maybe not. John Cena does have the 290 in the reverse caps, which isn't like my favorite cipher to use, but John Cena does equal 290. But look at what equals 290 in Gematria in the important cipher. Look. Christ. Christ equals 290. So are you kidding me? Hold on. 7-1. Again, make sure you guys subscribe to this channel. Are you kidding me? John equals 322 in Greek isosophy? Okay, guys, we gotta look at this. No way. No way. English to Greek. Giannis. Oh wait, Giannis. That's like Giannis, the guy on the Bucks. Anyway, John. So he says John equals 322 in Greek. Let's bring up the calculator where I can look up the Greek real fast. So then we go to this calculator and we find the Greek. Guys, look at this. Look at this, man. Thank you, 7-1, for that. Wow. John in Greek equals 322. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? After everything we talked about tonight. And John Ferguson, this guy can be, his real name is Jonathan, right? He can be he's 322 months old tonight, this guy. And John Cena is 22, his name equals 223. And look how he's saluting, guys. This is like a salute to the end, okay? Why do you salute somebody? Because a lot of times you do it, you know. I just can't believe it, man. John equals 322 in Greek isosophy, one of the oldest forms of gematria on the planet. One of the it's just, let me just type in John there so people are just coming in can understand this. So yeah, John 322. Wow. Yeah, I have skull and crossbones equals 322. That's in my slides. That's the important part. Skull and crossbones equals John Felix Anthony Cena. And guys, today is two months and 23 days before the Super Bowl, and 2 months or 2 weeks, 22 days before John Cena's birthday. So I don't know what to say anymore. I've laid out everything I can see here. We talked about a lot of different things here. Wait, okay. You guys keep oh my goodness, you guys are so awesome. Widow's son in the chat, he just posted, now you see me, now you don't. What is this? Guys, this movie just released 4 days ago? No way. Guys, this movie just released 4 days ago. Or a span of 4 days ago if you count on King Charles' birthday, right? If you count the 14th, right? Why is that important? Because John Cena, what's his famous phrase, right? What does John Cena always say? He always says, "You can't see me." right? John Cena, you can't see me. So that's thank you guys for adding that, because thank to everyone who added something, because you guys really gave some doozies. But let's get ready to wrap it up, because I actually want to. I'm actually going to be watching and see what happens tonight, because it's going to be a big night. Somebody put in the chat, John 2:23. Now, when he was in Jerusalem at the Passover and the feast day, many believed in his name when they saw miracles which he did. Wait, the magicians in the movie Now You See Me are called the Four Horsemen? Really? Are you kidding me? No way. Charlie? One of them's name is Charlie? No. You got cryptocurrency. Guys, you just, or Widow's Son, you just opened up a whole nother can of worms, man. Guys, one of the four horsemen in this Now You See Me, is his name is Charlie. No, not another Charlie. And a cryptocurrency connection. I think this is really connected to crypto, and yeah, that's proof right there. Ugh. Crypto means hidden. Now you see me, now you don't, right? Hidden. Crypto means hidden. They're called the Four Horsemen. Right here. It says right here. But what's this Charlie one? A trio of young musicians named Charlie. Guys, we gotta watch this movie, or someone's gotta tell me about this movie, because I don't know anything about it. But look at this. The original Four Horsemen. Tarot cards. Trump cards, right? Trump. Ugh. My goodness. Veronica, the horseman, and the horsemen arranged to meet at Abu Dhabi. There's Charlie. Guys, this is ridiculous. Who plays Charlie here? Jesse Eisenberg plays Daniel. Guys, we've been talking about Daniel too. That's been another name. Who plays Charlie? Justice Smith plays Charlie Vanderberg, a magician and mastermind behind getting the horsemen back together. Oh my goodness. Guys, think about it. Charlie is the mastermind between getting the horsemen back together? Are you kidding me? We're getting ready to enter the year of the horse? Oh my goodness. Oh, he's played by Justice Smith. Huh. Smith. August 9th. Anyway, I'm not going to do this right now, I don't think, but this is obviously, with this movie just coming out, the Four Horsemen, I was talking all about the fours. One of these guys is Woody Harrelson. I mean, I don't know anything about these movies, but Unlock the Illusion, guys. Man, something's coming, folks. This was on King Charles' birthday, man. Of course it was. You can't get away from the Charles stuff, man. Something's about ready to happen with the financial system. I'm telling you, that's what this is, I think, pointing to as well. Unlock the illusion. This reality is about ready to get unlocked. What am I doing here right now for you guys? I'm unlocking the illusion. At least I hope I am. I mean, what I've showed you tonight is so crazy in general, but now this movie, and this was 4 days ago. It was a span of 4 days ago, if you add the day. Jesse Eisenberg is in this movie. I know that guy. What's that equal? Now you see me, now you don't. Look at this, John. It equals the guy I was just talking about earlier, the tight end, Jonathan Ferguson, equals Madison Square Garden. Unlock the illusion. Let's see what that phrase equals. Well, let me see what the whole thing. Let me look in the other ciphers. Don't see anything there really, but well, it's got the 88, guys. I mean, how much have we talked about 88? But the 88's for another day. Unlock the illusion. Donald. It has that 220 like Brotherhood of Death and Donald John Trump. So I remember Donald Trump's middle name is John. So that kind of goes back to everything. But let's wrap this up, guys. It's been an hour, 26 minutes. Thank you to the 233 of you that have been here. And if you guys just got in, make sure you guys go back and watch from the beginning. I covered a lot of ground. I covered Charlie's Web. I covered the John Cena, the Cowboys, the 44s, the Garden of Eden, the Skull and Bones, the Snake Eyes, all these different things, how they connect. And yeah, if you guys just got here, make sure you guys go back and check that out. But until then, thank you guys. Thanks everyone who added something into the chat as usual. And we'll see what happens tonight. I'm sure something's going to happen tonight that's going to connect to what I just talked about. So keep your eyes peeled. See if the Cowboys score tonight. It ends with a 44 in it somehow. Whether it's a final score or whatever. I feel like a 44 is going to be connected somehow. Have a good night, everyone. And make sure you hit those like buttons on the way out. If you guys want to support the channel, don't forget, buy me a coffee link. And as usual, I will see you guys in a few days or the day after tomorrow for another or actually tomorrow night is tomorrow night's the Eye to Eye podcast. So make sure you guys don't forget about that. All right. Have a good night, everyone. Much love. God bless. And we'll see you in the next video.